Hi, welcome to The Witch in the Woods, and today I want to talk to you about making your own magical wand. So arguably, the wand is the most important tool you will ever use as a witch. But the question is, should you make your own? Should you buy one off the shelf? Should you pick up a stick? There's nothing wrong with any of these. I've got a particularly pretty stick I picked up on one of my trips, and I use that quite often as a wand. So whatever you like, there are no rules. But if you do want to make a wand, you might want to think about putting more power and energy into the whole act of using, making and connecting with your own wand. So if you've decided that you do want to make a wand, but you're not particularly sure what kind of wand you want to make or what woods you'd like to use, perhaps you'd like to go and have a look around your local area for specific trees, specific areas that you find attractive, that you find powerful. Some of these places might be a grove of trees. Now, in a grove of trees where one tree tends to dominate, you'll find that the energy of that wood is especially powerful. For example, behind my house I have a little birch grove, and the energy of birch is very powerful and they're very strong. I find it a very lovely, relaxing, feminine place to be. The birch signifies new beginnings, cleansing and purity. And here the wood amplifies the energy of one or two specific traits. If you want to find a wood, you could go for a walk with an awareness. And this is dropping into your intuition, allowing your intuition to drop down into your belly and your instincts, and just allowing that to take you wherever it leads you. Don't overthink it, don't try to work out too much where you're going to go and what you're going to look at. Just allow your instincts to lead you wherever they will. Just be drawn to one area of woodland or local trees that perhaps you know or have already attracted you in some way. If you haven't found a tree that you already want to make a wand from, then just go for a walk and look for a branch, look for a tree. And as you walk, just put it out there that you are looking for a branch or a tree to make a magical wand from. But go and visit areas that you like, go and visit places that you find particularly powerful. And this is a good practice anyway, because the more you go and meet the land, the more you will get acquainted with the nature spirits and they will get acquainted with you. The more you get recognised by the energy of the fae around you. So Develop a relationship with the land and get to know its power spots, get to know its different atmospheres, its different energies and different places, and go and decide which resonates with you. If you plan to whittle a wand, then the best way to do this is to cut it from a green wood, and this means cutting it from a live tree. Now, this is not to be undertaken lightly. If you are going to go cutting trees down, do it with respect and do it carefully. Choose the wood you're going to use very carefully and ask the permission of the tree. The reason for using a green wood is that if you pick up a stick from the ground, there's a good chance that it will break while you're whittling it, because the wood will just be too hard or too rotten. So possibly it's best to choose a stick, if you find one, that is very strong and that may have just freshly fallen not so long ago. Make sure it's not rotten, and perhaps if you're going to choose a wand, then decide not to strip the bark from it and just decorate it as it is. But the best wood, as I say, is the wood from a living tree to whittle and shape and carve into and cut little holes to put crystals in. But don't think this means that you can't take something that you find, something that you may be drawn to in the area. If something speaks to you, then take it by all means. And not everybody wants to cut a branch from a living tree. And let's admit that a tree can become diseased if it is left with open wounds. So you have to be careful. It has to be dry conditions, has to be suitable conditions to not allow a tree to get disease if you cut a piece of wood. So definitely always bear in mind that cutting a piece of wood from a tree is not to be done lightly at all. And take your time. If you're going to do this, take your time to look around and find the right piece of wood. Respect the tree that you're taking the wood from. Ask its permission, get to know it, feel its energy. Decide if this really is a good thing to do for you. When you find a tree that attracts you, approach it and sense its energies. Ask its permission if you can take a branch. Look around and see if there's a branch you can use. Is there a branch that is suitable to make a wand from? If not, don't worry. If you're not quite sure, just move along and keep looking until you find the one that you're certain is the branch you want to use. I found an ash on my walk yesterday, and the ash had appealed to me because it showed great strength in adversity. Half of its bark had been stripped off the branches, and yet it was still growing, and yet half of it, the tree, was still surviving strong. Ashwood is sacred to the gods in many religions. It's one of the great trees, and from it was made the spear of Odin, the handle of the broom, and the druid's staff. However, in some traditions, it is unlucky to harm an ash tree, so do not take the wood lightly, and perhaps think whether you are hurting the tree in any way if you take a branch. As I say, if you're not sure that the tree is right for you, don't worry and move on. Making a wand shouldn't be a quick process anyway. You should take your time, you should not make hasty decisions, but be sure that you're finding the right wood, a wood that you connect to. If you're going to cut a branch from a live tree, you won't be taking the wood anyway. Ideally, you would develop a relationship with that tree and go back and cut it at a later time. So when you go looking for a tree, don't necessarily go and look for the most majestic tree you can find. Powerful trees can be large or small, so don't dismiss a tree because it seems smaller and less significant than you'd hoped for. Don't let your ego rule your choice. You may want to take from a powerful tree, but be sure that that's the tree for you. One of the most powerful trees is the oak, and the oak signifies strength and vitality, and it also opens doorways. It was a particularly favourite wood for the Druids. You may want to make a wand out of oak, ash or thorn, or maybe out of rowan or any other particularly sacred tree. The apple is an excellent tree to make a first wand from. It is said to be the entrance to the other world or to fairyland, and in some traditions the apple is the silver branch of the initiate. But just spend a little time listening to trees, relaxing, getting to feel the energy of a place, getting to meet the dryads. Go and find places that are powerful. Spend a little time relaxing, and as you relaxed, you may notice with that awareness some tree that may call to you, or a branch which may shine at you. This is what you are looking for when you go for a walk with an awareness, that instinctive glow of a connection. It could be that you find a power spot that is magical to you. Look around the area. Look which trees call to you. Look which areas call to you. Look for powerful trees. A tree that twists as it grows is said to be growing on a power point. Also, trees that seem to form a gateway are particularly magical, especially if they are two of the sacred trees. They are said to be entrances to power and to otherworldly energies, so these might be particularly good trees to use. Hawthorn trees are sacred to the goddess, both as maiden, mother and crone. It is a tree of enchantment and magic. It is said a hawthorn wand is especially protective against malicious energies. If you find a branch that you want to cut from a tree, ask that tree's permission. Ask if you are allowed to take that branch. This is especially important if you're going to cut wood from a living tree. Ask if you can make a wand from it. Spend a moment listening, seeing if it feels right to you that you take that branch. If you are given permission, plan to return at a later date, preferably on a new moon and preferably at dawn, although there are no hard and fast rules, and so never feel that you have to commit to something if you feel that's a hard and impossible task to do. Just go with your intuition. But if you do decide to go and cut the living wood on a new moon, then up until that time, if possible, go and visit that tree as much as you can. Get to know it, spend time with it, get to ask it to send its energy into the branch that you're going to be cutting. Allow it to take a little time for this process to happen. When the time is right, say at dawn on a new moon, cast a circle around the tree or sprinkle some water around the tree to form a sacred space. And then before you cut the tree, offer it a gift at its roots. Maybe spend a little more time meditating with the tree before you finally cut it. And then it is said to be luckiest if you can cut the branch in one stroke. When you've taken your branch, then wrap it up in a cloth. It's said the length of a wand is supposed to be somewhere from the elbow to the tip of the finger, or if you want a small branch, from the palm to the tip of the finger. In other words, something that fits your own body. And when you're ready, take it away, and you may want to whittle it, you may want to shape it or personalise it in some way. Bearing in mind that if you're cutting a green woods, when you strip the bark off, it's quite likely to become much, much thinner, because what you'll be working with is the hardwood in the centre. So try to find something that will take a little bit of whittling if you're going to do that. But that's not necessary. But in some way, if you personalise it, if you put symbols on it, if you add decoration to it that makes it particularly powerful to you, so use symbols wisely, don't just use them willy-nilly, know why you're putting something on your wand. And another way to do this is to give birth to the wand some way. And to do this, you use the power of red, which signifies blood and life force. So you can paint either end of the wand with red paint, and you could attach a handle. Now, if you're going to attach any cloth or any soft handle to a wand, then make sure it's a natural material. It's much better to be a breathing, living, natural cloth than some synthetic cloth. Also, you can put a crystal in the end. If you're going to put a crystal in the end, I would advise cleansing the crystal first, possibly for 3 days, and then making sure that it's attached firmly. And if you do insert a crystal into the wand, perhaps you could use a little bit of that red pigment that signifies the lifeblood that you are gifting this wand with. So that's it, that's how to make a wand. Oh, a little word about whittling. From experience, if you are going to whittle a wand, do not cut a horizontal edge anywhere, because you will introduce a weak point into the wood and it's highly likely that you will snap the wood. But spiral shapes are fine, so they're much stronger. But just bear in mind, especially if you're a beginner, that you don't want to do sideways cuts. Just avoid it, you'll be heartbroken, believe me. So yes, once you've got your wand, you can take care of it, maybe give it a little personal bag to keep it in. Best to keep it out of sight of other people, to keep it a personal one to you. And then perhaps you want to try some exercises to connect with the wand and to learn how to use power through the wand. And these might be simple things like learning to draw symbols, learning to shoot energy through your hands and out the wand until you can actually see it. And here what you're kind of aiming for is an awareness of glow, of energy that you are sending with your will. And if you can see it as white energy, or you can see it as blue energy. But this is the one energy you want to work with wands. And of course, best not to leave that kind of energy lying around. So you might want to send back to where it came from once you're done with it. So there's a few hints and tips on how to make wands. If you've got any questions, then please let me know. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that. And yeah, I hope to speak to you all again soon. Thank you. Goodbye. Exploring the wood and getting to know the trees is one of my favourite things to do, and I'm not the only one.